Joining me now is Jeanne Meserve, our CTV News International security expert. Jeanne, thank you for joining us today. U.S. Secretary of State Blinken is back in the Middle East. What will be the focus on this trip?
He's really trying to keep the lid on hostilities there. As horrific as the battling in Gaza has been, there is real concern right now about what's happening in northern Israel. As you well know, Israel launched a strike against a Hamas leader in Beirut. Hezbollah has responded in force. They've been firing even more rockets into northern Israel and have said they are going to go further in an effort to seek revenge. Israel, meanwhile, has indicated it might ramp up military activities in the north and is not going to back down here. And so one of the principal efforts of Blinken is to keep a lid on that situation, to keep this war from expanding and becoming even broader. He's also going to be talking about the Houthi rebels in Yemen who've been attacking shipping in the Red Sea. That has been incredibly disruptive to world trade. And the Houthis have persisted despite an international coalition that's been put in place to try and stop them. And the fact that the U.S. sank 3 of their ships. Apart from those 2 very big issues, there's a third, and that's what's happening in Gaza. As you just mentioned, the situation has become dire. Blinken is going to press to make sure even more aid can get into Gaza and also try and move forward on the issue of getting hostages out of Gaza.
It's got to be a difficult dance for him because, the U.S. is backing and funding Israel, still supporting them, although telling them to try and reduce civilian casualties. Are Middle Eastern countries still listening to the U.S.? Does the U.S. still carry weight there?
Oh, I think they can't help but listen to the U.S. I mean, the U.S. also gives substantial aid to some of them. Egypt, in particular, gets a big check from the United States every year. So they are listening to the United States. But Blinken is not only contending with leaders in the Middle East who are not happy with U.S. policy. There's also a domestic situation at play here. This is an election year, and President Biden is facing increasing criticism, even from within his own party, on the fact that the U.S. has been foursquare behind Israel, despite what has been a tremendous loss of civilian life in Gaza.
Let's talk quickly before we go about in Gaza. The Israeli IDF saying that they have finished their operations in the north. Now we'll focus on the central and south. Does that mean Hamas has essentially been neutralized in the north?
That is hard for me to say from where I sit in Washington, D.C. I doubt very much that Hamas has been neutralized. This is an organization with many tentacles, many members. Many of us have observed that military activity in Gaza has probably just increased its membership and probably aided in recruiting of fighters. So I think the Israelis may have taken out leadership. I don't think that they have in any way been able to completely eliminate Hamas operations in northern Gaza. And of course, the south is still problematic for them.
And that is their next focus. Jeanne Meserve, our CTV News International security expert, thank you very much for joining us this morning.
You bet.